Hello, my name is Nell and I have things to say about disability, chronic illness and mental health. I live with all of these things, as do many other people, and in my videos on my channel I talk about them, as painful and awkward as these topics can be. Partly to connect with the other people out there who feel like their lives are constantly being defined by these struggles, and to let them know that they're not doing this alone, but also to reach out to people who have no lived experience of these things and to hopefully help them learn some insight into what life is like for the other half. If that sounds like something that interests you, I would love it if you would subscribe to this channel. I get so excited whenever I see a new subscriber because it means somebody out there thinks that what I have to say has value, and that feels amazing. Come back every Wednesday when I upload new videos. Let me know what you think of what I say in the comments section, and if you know of somebody who would benefit from a video in particular or the whole channel, share it with them. Share a link, let them know what the channel name is, and yeah, invite them along for the ride. Today I want to talk about something that I shouldn't have to discuss. It shouldn't be a topic of discussion. And yet, like many things in the disability sphere, here I am talking about it. Should disabled people expect privacy? Do disabled bodies deserve privacy? Now the answer to both of those questions is yes. Obviously. Absolutely yes. It's a resoundingly yes. And yet, it seems to be forgotten. And, even more sadly, the people who seem to forget are the people who look after disabled bodies. The people in support work. I particularly started thinking about this topic because of an interaction I had with a support worker recently, and it made me think of other interactions I've had. And then I got talking with another support worker about this particular issue in the industry. Recently, with my support worker, for context, at the end of my shower routine, my support worker helps dry and dress my top half. Then they leave, close the door, and I dry and dress my lower half, go to the toilet, and then come out and join my worker where we do the foot routine. So this worker, she often sort of half closes the door and I have to say, please close the door, I'm going to go to the toilet. So she then closes the door. I have to tell her this like every time. And so this time she was on her way out. She said, oh, did you want the door closed? And I said, well, yes, as always, every time I want the door closed. And afterwards I came out and I said, I'm confused as to why you had to ask if I wanted the door closed. And she said, oh, I don't know. Well, sometimes I don't fully close it. And I said, I know, and I always ask you to close it. She said, oh yeah, you do too. I said, you could see, you knew that I have no pants on. You knew that I had to dry and dress my private areas and that I had to go to the toilet. Why would you think I would want to do that with the door open? And she sort of hesitated, thinking about it. It was like she thought about it for the first time. That I might not want to dry and dress my private areas and go to the toilet with the door open when there was somebody who is not my friend, not my family, and not my partner in the house. And I said, I know you see me naked in the shower, but that doesn't mean that I want you seeing my body all the other times, in other times of vulnerability. That's not okay. And it got me thinking about other times when things like this have happened. Times when I've been in the shower and a worker has just opened the door, come in and said, I'm just getting something from the laundry. And I've had to say, no. When I'm in the shower, it stops being your workplace and it starts being my space. My private space. Anything you need to do in there can wait until after I've finished. I won't be there forever. Just wait 10 minutes and you can have the bathroom back to whatever you want to do with it. One time I was sitting on the toilet and a worker said outside the door, hey Natalie. She knew I was on the toilet. Hey Natalie. And I said, yes. And I expected her to do the normal thing that we all do, where we speak through the door. Instead, she opened up the door, saw me on the toilet, completely unfazed, and started talking to me about household things. And I was mortified and said, what are you doing? Get out, close the door. And she went, oh, okay. And afterwards I said, don't you dare open the door when I'm inside the bathroom. Don't you dare. I don't want you seeing me on the toilet. And she went, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, okay. I said, you don't look at a disabled person on the toilet unless you have to, unless you're assisting them. I shouldn't have to ask for privacy in those times. It shouldn't be a special request that I am asking to be given to me. I spoke to one of my workers who's been in the industry for a very long time, and she said it is concerning the attitudes that she's seen. Now, in some of my workers, I think it's a bit of thoughtlessness. It's just forgetting that even though my body is part of their job sometimes, it doesn't mean it's just their job all the time. When they're washing me, when they're dressing me, yes, they have to interact with my body. Yes, my body is kind of open season, but then it goes back to being mine. They kind of forget that. And this worker was saying that she sees it a lot, particularly when there are people with intellectual disability. And workers will just say, oh yeah, you can just leave the door open, they don't mind. Or just walking in and out of the shower, they won't mind. Or sharing somebody and saying, oh, I need to do something else. Oh, so-and-so, can you continue this person's shower and I'll leave? And not ask the person if they're okay with somebody different showering them. And they'll say they don't mind. And the sad thing is there are two options. Either they do mind, but they just can't speak up. Or they don't mind, and it's because they've never known that they're allowed to mind. It's because they've been in this world with this treatment for so long that they've never been taught that they're allowed to have privacy, that they're allowed to say no, that they're allowed to express in some way, I'm not happy, I'm not comfortable. And I want to tell you that you are allowed to expect privacy. Your body is yours. And even if you need help looking after it, it is still absolutely yours, and you are allowed to make the rules, and you are allowed to enforce those rules. All right? For me, it means I have certain rules about when people are allowed to come inside rooms, out of rooms, when people are allowed to touch me, where they're allowed to touch me, in what circumstances they are allowed to touch me. And they have to stick to those rules. And it's still hard because I know that sometimes I do not want to be touched, and yet if I want to have a shower, I have to be touched. And it breaks my heart. And I want to cry. And I want to scream. But I can hold it together as long as I know that my privacy is respected in other ways. As long as I can build those boundaries, build that safety net. But I think the important thing is that we just don't let people forget. If somebody treats me like that, if somebody just leaves the door open even if they know that I'm going to use the toilet, then I will just ask them, do you use the toilet when it's open and you aren't close to that person? Would you leave a public toilet partially open? Is that something you're okay doing with yourself? Because if it's not something you would be okay doing with yourself, don't you dare expect me to be okay with it. Just because I'm disabled. That doesn't change the amount of respect I deserve just because I'm disabled. That's all for this one. Bless.